Then I think these days, a regular consumer has way more of a grasp of masters, publishing, royalties, than advanced more than a artist in the 90s. That's why I think a lot of OGs can't be OGs. The one. But we're still on rap. Daz Dillinger got into it with Snoop, okay? And before he had said he was kicked off of death row, and he says it wasn't personal, it was business, but he says Snoop wanted him to sign over the catalog, but Daz refused. By the way, he had called out Snoop for some kind of like predatory practices because Snoop now owns Death Row. Hear this.
Yeah, that album came out on Death Row.
Okay.
And then I got kicked off of Death Row again from Snoop.
Damn.
Got into it. Me and Snoop, it's my cousin. You know, he get into it all the time. He kicked me off. So, I ain't going back this time.
Yeah, you ain't going back? So, because obviously you guys are related. So, what is that conversation like? Because you're like, yo, fuck you, no, fuck you. And then you guys still got to talk later on.
He did a show and didn't take me. So I figured, like, why what's going on? He's just like, you ain't sign your catalog over to me. And I'm like, I'm keeping it. You know what I'm saying? It's worth a lot.
Okay.
So, that's what it's about, because, like, he owned the label, but I own the publishing.
And that is valuable.
And that's more valuable than the ownership. So I'm just like, I could take my bones and go, as long as my house and everything that I got is paid for, and I get the Tupac royalties, I get all my royalties, you know what I'm saying? That's just another part of just Death Row because Tupac and Dr. Dre are separate from Death Row.
Yeah.
So it's like, all the albums that Snoop had on Death Row, and it deplenished now. He only got 3 albums on there. Okay. All them records, everybody took their records back. So, he only got Doggy Style, Dog Father, Murder Was the Case, The Dog Pound, which I'm coming to get, and my solo album. After them, you only got about 3 albums left on that.
Yeah. So can you explain for the average like fan or listener like how this went? Because he acquired the rights to Death Row.
Yeah,
and then he acquired.
But he didn't have to pay us from the past. He has to pay us from when he acquired it from 22 on up.
Okay, so everything from there. And then along with the catalog coming over, you guys had the option to take your portion of the catalog?
No, he still had the portion of the catalog. I just filed for my copyright reversion.
Got it.
Which means everything revert back to me after 35 years. Some people don't even get to see 35 years.
Yeah.
And other people like that. So, like that, I'm requiring getting my shit back.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. So look like there's been a whole legal battle, or not really a legal battle, but definitely a rights battle with Daz and Snoop Dogg. And if you guys don't know, this is what he said recently.
What's up, y'all? Waking back. Hey, this is the origin of the story. E1 was Koch. Remember this. Do your search.
Yeah, I remember.
Koch turned into E1. Bad business. They had to change the name. E1 turns into Monarch. Bad business. So over those years, Suge Knight had a deal with Alan Grunblack, which ran E1, which ran Koch, which ran Monarch, to take everyone's music. So 15 years go by, another 15 years go by, it's 30 years. Time is up on that. I'm already on Monarch, Koch, all the motherfucking names they got. I'm on their motherfucking ass. These the white boys. So you know what they do? A football pass. Pass it to Snoop. Thinking he can manipulate and get everybody because Daz is on our ass. They held back my publishing saying that I signed my publishing over. Come to find out, they didn't. They released that money to me. Snoop know about it. He was involved in that situation. He know about that. He showed me all the paperwork that goes down in the motherfucking place. So I'm looking at all this shit. You know what I mean? Taking pictures in my eyes. But I also have a copy of it myself. See, I have to see what they have and what I have to see what I don't have to see what I need to have. You know what I mean? So It's a fucked up situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a lot of people that were stealing. And you know what I mean? Dr. Dre got his shit, but there's no paperwork on the Chronic album. On the Chronic album. There's no paperwork on the Chronic album. You know what I mean? So.
Okay. So Daz is saying he believes that, you know, Snoop Dogg acquired the rights of Death Row Records to manipulate him to sign over publishing. Now, I'm not too sure I believe that, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Anyway, Snoop sent back a response, and this is another video he was calling. He's been calling out Snoop.
All your stuff. Now, you were saying something about the paw. Now, what are you talking about with the paw?
Well, like I was saying, the paw is trademarked. Like I told Snoop, you got rejected and I got accepted. You know what I'm saying? So that was the moneymaker. The paw is like the Apple sign, like I said before. And like I said, they tried to go behind my back and trademark all my work and then flung my face like, yeah, nigga, we got it, nigga. That's all we wanted, nigga, because I'm finna sell everything for $1 billion to Universal. You know what I mean? But shh, don't be selling my shit.
Now, what do you mean by selling? He said he was going to sell it, or what? They're selling Death Row, the new Death Row that just came?
Snoop, everything Snoop's involved with, he gonna sell all that shit for $1 billion. You know, the motherfuckers cashing niggas out for their catalog. And then he sell that shit and he just start over and make new music. You know, it's easy. You sell what you got. You know what I'm saying? Nigga got all that money. I mean, I don't count niggas' pocket, but I got my own pocket. You know what I mean?
Now, how many albums is over there? Now, how many albums is over there at Death Row? Because you were saying that it was at the...
Yeah, so he basically thinks Snoop is trying to do some shicey shit. He's been on a media tour, and Snoop supposedly sent him this video, which he also put out.
I see you ain't got shit to do but hate on me, huh? In a minute, I'ma fuck you up, cuz, on some real shit. Not physically, but business-wise. Cause you broke as a motherfucker right now, so I'ma fuck you up in a minute, cuz. Leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone. Leave me alone, cuz. I'ma fuck you up. Leave me alone. I see you ain't got shit to do but hate on me, huh?
Damn. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I'm a little surprised, but not surprised. One of the things I've realized about hip hop is that, you know, this idea, there's this constant theme of rappers getting fucked in their record deal. Not literally, we're just talking about contractually. But the reason why I think we don't learn from OGs is that all the OGs are too embarrassed to tell the truth that they don't own their shit. They're going through the same thing that Daz is going through. And they weren't that knowledgeable of the business back then. I think these days, a regular consumer has way more of a grasp of masters, publishing, royalties, than advance more than a artist in the 90s. That's why I think a lot of OGs can't be OGs, because we're at the optimum place where these artists are approaching record deals with leverage. They're also understanding the things that matter. Back in the day, these guys would say, take my publishing, just give me $50,000 extra. They would say, give me $50,000 extra, take my publishing. I want the cash. The education of knowing that your publishing would be what is going to be necessary to feed your family. Once you stop rapping, but these records have become iconic, people still want to license it, use it, and now the intellectual property of its ownership, which is usually managed through the publishing side, that's how you could make money. Most of the older artists don't know, or they fucked it up. And by the way, like these days with newer artists, yeah, these days newer artists, they walk into a lot of these buildings. If they going with leverage, they're like, yo, listen, I'm not giving up my masters or my pub. Let's do it differently. That would be seen as unheard of back in the day, because the only way to get hot was through your label. Only way to put out records was through your label. So the label basically was using a leverage system to say, well, we created what you are, so we're entitled to X, Y, and Z. As opposed to artists now show up and be like, hey, listen, I'm already lit. I'm lit off TikTok. My shit's going up on there. Yo, I posted it on so-and-so on YouTube. It's going up. So with the leverage I have, I want whatever. Do you get what I'm saying? A standard rookie contract, and I'm saying rookie contract, but I mean a first record deal for a new artist would be a royalty rate record deal where on average, after recoupment, you're entitled to 12 to 18% of the earnings of that record. Okay? That's the standard rookie contract. Why would people take that? Well, the label's doing all the work. You really don't have much going on. I'll use, for example, Savage, 21 Savage. 21 Savage had a successful mixtape that was already going crazy that the labels didn't invest in. When he walks into Epic Records, and this is why artists should say partnership rather than, a deal. He gets to negotiate a different type of deal that's not a royalty rate type deal. And also his masters, he gets to keep. Right? So it's a lot about music industry, and it's kind of interesting watching the older artists kind of like, I'm not shaming them, but you get to realize these guys never had their business in check. These guys never had their business in check. And it's a bit sad because I'm watching the older they get, they're kind of like trying to figure it out there. But it was ironic because I saw Daz speaking up on Drake. When he was speaking about, he's like, nah, Drake got a fake watch. Like, they knew all the wrong things to say. Like, he should have known about the real contract, not about who got the fake whatever.
Months ago, I saw a headline that was trending in the news about Drake acquiring Tupac's, his original.
That's the thing about rappers, man. Yeah, you could ask a rapper if a chain real, a chain fake. He know everything. Yo, that ain't VVS. That's VS. Yo, that ain't this. Is Mosinite. They like jewelers. You ask them about their contract and their deal, bewildered.
Death Row chain, and then another report surfaced shortly after that the chain actually was verified to not be actually Tupac's.
Yeah.
Did you get involved in that mess? Did anyone come to you and ask you to verify?
I just looked at my own chain.
Yeah.
and was it the same one?
It looked like probably somebody else's chain, but Tupac's was a little bit bigger. Had more diamonds on it and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was one of them big large ones. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So Drake, you probably got played.
Chain buster. Okay. Well, I do wish Daz Dillinger well. I think what I speculate is happening here is I don't think Snoop is a shiesty guy like that. I don't know him, but I don't think he is. But I do think his big bank take little bank. Here's the issue. With all due respect, Daz Dillinger, even though he does have a catalog, the thing in music is that music was kind of it's ironic that they use the terms like masters and slaves. Like, for example, how it works is that the original copy or the first version of a song is called the master. Any other reproduced copy is called a slave. It's ironic that in music there's overtones of actual slavery when you think about historically that most artists sign a deal that essentially is a slave deal. You give the majority of the money that is going to come in to the label. The label justifies it because they say without us you wouldn't make it and we're investing. And here's the thing, only after you've worked 40 years do you get maybe your 40 acres. And eventually most artists don't last in the industry that long. So their story is one that's kind of salty, where you fizzled out before you gained any leverage that you could use against these labels. Snoop is the exception. Snoop is a household name. Some people would argue is the most famous rapper of all time in terms of if you go to another country and you just say his name, they might not even have to have internet, but they would probably know Snoop Dogg, right? Again, it's not about knowing a song. It's about rap. Who do they identify with rap? Snoop Dogg is one of those people. Now, here's the thing. Snoop has been getting money. We see him. He used to do a show with Kevin Hart. We see him on Super Bowl commercials. We see him got everything going on. Snoop is one of those people that's made hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Over time, his leverage has increased and increased. And I do think this is a case of big bank take Lil Bank. I think at this point, Snoop Dogg wanted to not only own some of the things that was important in his past as a artist, he, realized that he could get this shit for the low. These artists didn't know the worth. And here's the thing. He probably also bought, Death Row saying this, hey, Sugar's in jail. And if these companies that don't have a face, that don't have some type of soul connection, spirit that you could feel like it's Death Row, if they have the catalog or they have the rights for the label's projects, it won't do as well as if Snoop had it. So I think Snoop is doing big bank, Lil Bank. Take Lil Bank, okay? Hey, this is more valuable in my hands than it's valuable in yours. However, once he paid for it, now it becomes business. Here's the problem with Daz. Well, Daz, you're saying the same thing an artist usually says, which is, yes, after I've signed contracts and things of that nature, I could appeal to the internet about what's right and wrong. If you are contractually within your right to do whatever you would do, you would never take it to the internet because Snoop can't do otherwise, or else you'd be suing him or suing the label. But usually what happens is people appeal to the internet for some type of sympathy, or let me hit him with the, why doesn't he do the right thing? So I think Snoop is probably looking at it to say, I paid for this shit and I want to be able to do what I want to do with this shit. And I kind of agree with him with that. But I do want to just stress music education for all of the rappers who are coming up. Again, when you are, and hopefully you get to be the age of 50 and 60, when you are 60 years old, and it's been a long time since your music is, happening like that, you want to be the guy who gets the mailbox money, that you open up the mailbox and you pull out a check because you didn't know that they sampled your shit in the movie and the movie's going up, and the residuals that came in from this, that, and the third, you could spend a nice $15,000, or whatever it would be. It might be more, might be less, but at least it's money that came from your work because you were smart enough that when you were offered your publishing, you took your publishing, you knew what it meant, and you knew that over time it would be valued way more than it would be valued in the interim. So, I wish the best for Daz Dillinger. I hope we don't see him and Snoop going back and forth. I think that would be very unfortunate. But I'm not going to sit here and, just blindly say Snoop is like doing some crazy shit. Snoop's an artist too. I think Snoop paid for Death Row. I didn't buy it to just give y'all some shit for free, right? So I can't really knock what Snoop is doing either, right?